So, hello everybody, this is Bhante Joe here, and just here in Pickering, Ontario, and thought to record a short Awada for the internet. So I thought that maybe could start with just a bit of meditation. So can look about 3 feet in front, and lean forward a bit to arch our spine, and can close our eyes. And can focus in on the breath, can know when it's coming in, and know when it's going out. If we breathe in a long breath, can just know I'm breathing in a long breath. And if we breathe in a short breath, can just know I'm breathing in a short breath. And can focus in on the breath at the tip of the nose. And if notice any patterns of tension or tightness around the nose or the face, can just let those relax. And when breathing in and out from the tip of the nose, it can be helpful to change one's perception of the breath. Sometimes can imagine the breath almost as if it's in front and one is watching it, but instead can change perception so that it's almost like one is right in the center of the breath, almost like standing under a waterfall. So on the in-breath, one can be totally immersed by the breath. On the out-breath, one can be totally immersed by the breath. And can try to maintain mindfulness as the breath comes in through the nose, all the way through the in-breath, as the in-breath turns to the out-breath, all the way through the out-breath, and as the out-breath turns back to the in-breath again. Trying to make mindfulness as continuous as possible. And before we finish meditating, can spread thoughts of goodwill, wishing may all beings all around everywhere be happy and at ease. May they put in place the causes necessary to be happy and at ease. And we can make our minds infinite, can make them unbounded, all the way to the ends of the universe and beyond. In every dimension, may all beings all around everywhere be happy and at ease. And can open our eyes and do a short reflection on the Dhamma. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. So, hello everybody. I hope that you're having a good day, wherever it might be in the world. And yesterday was a kind of a nice day. There was the two senior monks at the Mahavihara, Bhante Vimalabhuti and Bhante Ratanasiri, who's the abbot. Both had birthdays on the same day, kind of April 9th. And then turned out that there were the most senior monk there, Bhante Upatissa, also had his birthday, I think close to April 20th. And then there was another visiting monk who's the abbot of Temple in Montreal, and his birthday is April 18th. And then I'm also born in April, so there was 5 monks with April birthdays. And one of the things about birthdays, interestingly enough, is that in Buddhism, you're actually trying to end rebirth, kind of. So, we have birthdays, but actually wishing that we don't have any more rebirths. So we, after this life, hopefully no more birthdays. As a birthday is a nice thing. Of course, somebody, it's a mark that person has survived another year, that they've made it. There's many ways that people can pass away, and yet this, we've survived, to whatever age, and our surviving another year is something that a person can reflect on as a kind of blessing, especially if they've if we're listening to this talk in the blog, if we're a Buddhist, then it's basically a blessing that we've encountered the Buddhist teaching, that we have an opportunity to practice in it. Because one of the things the Buddha recommends a lot is actually what they call this contemplation of death. It's kind of the contemplation of birth, contemplation of death. So we have a birthday, we've made it this far. We haven't, nothing has happened to cut our life off up to this point. And so what that means is that there's an opportunity to develop more good qualities, to do more in the Buddhist teachings, to practice more in the Buddhist teachings. And so, the Buddha gives this kind of a simile that, it's like if the whole earth, there was no land on the earth, it was just water. And somebody threw a plank onto the earth, and this plank had like a hole in it. And then at the same time, there's this sea turtle going through this huge body of water, and every 100 years it pokes its head up, through the water. And he says, what do you think, monks? Is there the possibility that the sea turtle could poke its head through the hole? And the monks say, it's impossible. It can't happen that the sea turtle would poke its head through the hole. And the Buddha says, no, it's possible. It could happen. It's kind of just very rare. And so in the same way, it's considered rare to have Buddhas arise in the world. It's considered rare to be born in a place where one encounters the teachings of the Buddha. It's considered rare to be able to practice the Buddha's teachings, or to be able to understand the Buddha's teachings. It's considered rare to be able to practice them. And of course, the rarest thing is to be able to realize them. And so as long as we're born, as long as we have another birthday, and we've kind of encountered the Buddha's teachings to the extent that that we're interested in finding out more about Buddhism, interested in practicing meditation, and this opportunity to try to understand them. We have this we have this other year. We just passed this year. We have more time still. At least this day. At least this hour. At least this moment. At least this kind of in-breath and out-breath to try to develop in the Buddhist path. Because the rare thing about the arising of Buddhas is that they teach a way to the ending of all suffering. So there's many good teachings in the world, teachings about doing good deeds, teachings about doing wholesome things that lead to heaven. But in the Buddhist worldview, even heaven is impermanent. The highest heavens, they last a long time. But after one falls away from that heaven, it's most likely that one goes to the animal realm or to hell or to the realm of hungry ghosts. So even these things don't last forever, and they lead onwards. Often, the inclination when leaving those realms is to go to a bad place. So the wonderful thing about the Buddhist teaching, he teaches a way out of all these realms, teaches a way out of the kind of desire that leads one onwards to be born, and leads one to grasp onto new states of becoming, and take them as a kind of essence of oneself, whatever kind of one has. This is the way I am. This is who I am. I'm a person who's this way. Somebody gets born in heaven, often beings in heaven, they think they're going to live there forever. And then the time comes for them to pass away. Kind of whatever's grasped onto becomes a self-identity. Then, when that falls away, a person suffers a lot. Can become complacent around self-identities. So the wonderful thing about the Buddha's teaching is that he teaches us a way to the ending of this kind of self-identity, a way to practice, to move forward in happiness from the small steps, kind of learning to develop in good and wholesome qualities, to learning to find kind of joy and happiness and peace in our mind, to learning to develop discernment, to try to completely cut defilements off permanently. So this is one of the amazing things about the teachings of the Buddha, is that these kind of mental defilements that plague us, they have a permanent end, so long as we're willing to practice for them. And so one of the other interesting suttas that the Buddha gives is there's this kind of a group of monks who talks about their contemplation of death. And I can't remember the exact details of the sutta, but there's one monk who says, yes, I contemplate death. I think as long as I were to live one more day and one more night, there's a lot that I could do, a lot that I could accomplish in the Buddhist teachings. And it goes down, and the monks give various times, as long as I could live, as long as it takes to chew a mouthful of food, or eat an alms meal. Another one's like chew a mouthful of food. Another one's like, I think, taste the food. Another one's as long as it takes to breathe in or breathe out. As long as I live that long, then I could do much in the Buddhist teachings. I could go forward. And so the Buddha says, I think the last two, maybe the one who tasted the food, and the one who thought, as long as I live, as long as I can taste the food, and the one who thought, as long as I live for the length of an in-breath and out-breath, I could do much in the Buddhist teachings. Those two are living kind of heedfully for what they call the destruction of the taints, for the sake of finding a permanent happiness. And he said the rest are living lazily. But on birthdays, these are wonderful things that we can reflect on, things that can bring a lot of happiness still, as long as we're alive. Whatever our circumstances are, whether we're rich or poor, whether we're in the best of health, not the best of health, so long as we're able to direct our minds, then we have an opportunity to do a lot with whatever time remains to us. Whether it's, who knows, could be a day, could be another year, could be 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, we don't know. But as long as that time remains us, so long as we so long as one puts forth effort, does what they can to advance in wholesome qualities in the mind, to advance in developing their mind in meditation, to advance in trying to find a permanent end to defilements, then that's always time well spent. And as our birthdays go by, one birthday after the next, when the day comes for us to have our death day, we have these birthdays, day comes for us to have our death day, then we look back on our life and think that we did a lot. It's not something that we have cause to regret. If somebody accomplishes their aims in the Buddha's teachings, then regardless of whatever they experience trying to get those aims, it's always worth it. It's something that they always feel happiness about. And so this is how the Buddha has us reflect on kind of birth and death. So long as we're alive, even for one more day, there's much that we can do. There's a lot of good that we can do. There's a lot of benefit that we have. We have this great opportunity. And this makes our life a truly bright thing, something that's bright. As long as we keep cultivating the Buddha's qualities, we feel a sense of happiness that we did that. Because moving forward towards the ending of suffering, moving forward in wholesome qualities, this is what brings happiness in the mind, almost irrespective of our external situations. We have this kind of refuge inside. And if we achieve our aims, if we actually permanently cut defilements, then this is something that people know for themselves in their mind. It's kind of their suffering is limited. There's only so much more, and then it's an end. There's nothing more to come after that. And so this is how we can practice, so that we have a good birthday, so that we have a good hour, good minute, good day and night, good amount of time. As long as it takes to taste the alms food, our time is well spent. And then if the time comes for us to leave this world, then we leave happy. We know that we're going to go. We can know that we're going to a good place. And ideally, if we practice well, then hopefully we know that we're not going to be born again at all. Okay? So leave that for reflection, and hope that everybody has a great day, and wishing you all the best.